fucking take too long.
Bro, we're saving fucking hard drive space, record everything.
Are you guys
Apparently.
together?
We're all together. Wink, wink. I'm the problem.
Wait, is this a full-size grown bear?
I got a jackass right here.
So you're trying to cover up some shit.
1776. Get in the fucking car. So she gets in the car.
Well, nobody should come while they're recording this.
Welcome to the show.
Hot sauce. Some like it stupid.
You're a real dickhead.
Hello and welcome to Hot Sauce, a cast about rusty nails and other old-timey STDs like coal on the fiddle.
What?
Don't pretend like you don't like it.
Rusty
Coal?
nails or coal on the fiddle.
What the fuck is called the fiddle?
I think it's
It
herpes.
sounds dirty, doesn't
No, that sounds terrible.
I know. It's not supposed to sound like, oh yeah, this is a sexy disease.
No.
It sounds like the worst Christmas gift you could ever receive. It's a gift
Yes.
that keeps on giving year round.
Hey, Grandpa, what'd you get me? Coal on the fiddle.
I got you. And a rusty nail. How you like that?
Use the nail to fuck with the fiddle.
No matter what, you need penicillin.
All right, moving right along. As always, this is Cactus. We have Jamesis, the science behind everything, and maybe a little religion. I don't know. I don't know what kind of mood he's in. And then we got Philly, who will eat absolutely anything, including a dick, as long as it's Philly style.
No.
A lot. And then we have Yoshi, our guest, who I don't know how to introduce him. He's just a fucking.
It's just kind of fucking here.
I'm just green, a lizard. I stick my tongue out and poop out eggs. That's all.
That's right. He's a lizard person. I forgot. We're gonna talk about Joseph Stupid. Is it Steuben or Stupid?
Not even remotely close.
Okay, good. We're on the right track then.
Awesome.
Idiot.
Nailed it. Okay. We're going to talk about, bear with me, he's got a very long name,
Oh, I love when you try to do these things. Come on.
and it's German.
Oh, please do the German accent.
I can't on this one. I got to play this one straight.
Can't or won't.
You Mexican or Mexican?
How about I do it both ways? I say Friedrich Wilhelm Ludolf Gerhard Augustin von Steuben.
Jesus Christ.
Wow, I was way off.
Now, can I do the German one?
Sure.
Yeah, please.
Friedrich Wilhelm Ludolf Gerhard Augustin von Steuben.
Wow.
Which one was better? How do you feel about that?
I'm turned on right now.
Second one.
Which one was less racist?
Was the second one, was that a French accent?
No. That was
Shut up, Frenchie.
as German as I could make it. Okay, so we're just going to refer to him as Steuben or von Steuben.
You know what? You sound like Pepe Le Pew right there.
Awesome. He was born in Magdeburg, Germany on September 17th,
Yeah, you match.
1730. His father was a Royal Prussian engineer captain.
You know what I'm going to say, right?
I wish you wouldn't. But
I know what you're going to say.
Fine, then I won't. It was
I know
pre-Russia.
I know what
Oh,
you're going to
was it?
say.
Wasn't it?
It was pre-Germany.
oh, bitch.
Ooh, sick burn!
So his dad...
Historical geography. Oh!
His
Die
dad-
over here.
Motherfucker. His dad, Baron Wilhelm von Steuben, and mother, Elizabeth von, I'm going to say this real bad,
I know.
Jagdrogen.
That's Rogan. Oh.
Yeah. Those were his parents. Prussia is the predecessor of the German Reich. It's Germany, Austria, Slovenia, Czech Republic, and parts of Poland. So that's why World War II, that's kind of the areas that Germany and the Nazis invaded right off the bat.
Okay.
When Wilhelm went to work for Friedrich Wilhelm Ludolf Gerhard Augustin von Steuben's dad,
Can we just call him Von Steuben from now?
yeah, I think that's the
Can we just call him Shoshana?
let's
Since you have the French accent and all.
let's just call him Fred.
Yeah, I like Fred.
I'm okay with
So
that.
when Wilhelm Friedrich
I thought we were going to call him
Dad.
Fred. What the fuck's wrong with you?
Friedrich, it works. When Wilhelm went to work for Empress Anna of Russia,
You did it again, you
Friedrich.
son of a bitch.
Friedrich went with him to learn from his father. In 1740, Wilhelm, they would return to Prussia, and Friedrich, the son again, would start his path to becoming a military man. At the age of 17, he joined the Prussian army. He served as a second lieutenant in 1756 during the 7 Years' War that involved most of Europe. During the Battle of Prague in 1757, he was wounded but remained in active duty after his recovery. So far this kid's like 17, 18, 19. He's a active lieutenant in the Prussian army, and he's been injured.
So wait,
He got promoted quick.
Yeah.
he's young as shit, and he's up there in the ranks.
Well, he's a second lieutenant, so he's not like he's not quite in charge of his own army branch or anything like that. He is in charge of.
I'm sorry, one second. Shut the fuck up.
I'm sorry.
We're trying to do a cast here. Don't be an asshole.
I'm also sorry. Continue.
He is in charge of a group of men, but he's not in charge of a ton of people like you'd see in a captain or a colonel. In 1759, he was promoted to first lieutenant, which first lieutenant does get him more responsibility. He does get more men under his command, and he gets more power.
And who doesn't want that?
He was immediately wounded again in August of that same year at the Battle of, and I'm going to say it wrong, Kunersdorf.
So wait, he's getting wounded left and right?
Yeah, he's been wounded twice
is he
in
like-
the span of like 2 years.
Is he like the Mr. Bean of the army?
I don't think so, but
He's a guy. He's target practice.
you have to think about it this way.
Oh, I caught a bayonet in the ass.
If you're going to get wounded, that means you are in the heat of the battle. You're not sitting in the background just like making men fight the battle for you. You are right on the front lines. Or you suck as a commander and the front line has been decimated and then you get shot. In June 1761, he received another promotion. This time he was promoted to deputy quartermaster of the general headquarters. Later that same year, he was captured and taken prisoner by the Russians at Treptow. So he's been wounded twice. He's been captured once.
Can I go back to the Mr. Bean thing?
Please do.
I feel like he's either extremely clumsy or extremely lucky.
I think
Why not both?
I think he's pretty lucky because if you think about it, Washington in one battle had 2 of his horses shot out from underneath him. So he had like that ridiculous luck that didn't get him killed, but was still like kind of a setback, like a little bit.
So again, he's target practice basically.
Yeah, a little bit. So after he was released,
Look at me!
Catch me, boys! Catch me! Ha,
Bet
ha,
you-
ha.
I bet you can't shoot me.
Blah, 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 blah. Oh, you got me!
why did I just think of Greased Up Deaf Guy?
Exactly. Nailed it.
So after
She on next year. Can't get free.
So after he was released, he was again promoted to captain.
Wait.
Jesus.
He's been shot at and captured and still promoted.
He's been wounded twice, captured once, released, promoted.
Okay.
So
I like his style.
God knows what happened during that span of time, but he is clearly like failing upwards.
He's fucking his way up the ranks.
He's like falling upstairs. It's weird.
So he was promoted to captain, and he served as aide-de-camp to Frederick the Great. Now, before you ask,
Because why not?
aide-de-camp is basically an assistant to blah 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 military. It's basically like your
So he
consultant for military matters.
so he went from being like a captain to like a secretary.
Not necessarily. It's like how
Okay, explain it to me like I'm 5.
I can't do that. Can we up it to like 15?
We can try it.
Okay, so you know how like the Secretary of Defense is normally like a general or something like that, like somebody who's been in the military and they understand the inner workings of the military.
Do I know that?
No, I'm asking you. Do you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a rhetorical question, asshole.
It had a question mark at the end.
Oh, okay.
So you understand that, like, if you want a liaison from the president to the armed forces, you need somebody who's kind of bridged both. You need somebody who's been in the military but also has, like, kind of a understanding of politics and things like that. They can't just go, oh yeah, North Korea, fuck them, we're gonna invade them. Like they need to dance the line a little bit.
Oh,
that's
right.
kind of what he is. Frederick the Great. He was Frederick II, King of Prussia, which, as we know, Prussia is basically Germany. The 7 Years' War would end in 1763, and von Steuben was one of many soldiers they were out of work, and kind of the reason was because when the war ended, part of the peace treaty was Prussia needs to reduce their armed forces. They needed to scale it back, kind of like at the end of World War II, Japan signed, their surrender, and part of the deal was they can't have an offensive military force. They can only build up their military for defensive purposes.
I'd like to use an example here, if I may. When Conan O'Brien lost his show, the Tonight Show, to Jay Leno, who had retired, he had a contract deal where he could not do a show for about a year.
Yeah, a competing show. Yeah.
For about a year.
Yeah, and then he went on the road and he
grew a beard. A majestic beard, by the way.
Isn't that called a non-compete?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'd like to compare this to a non-compete agreement that we have today.
He went on tour with, like, the White Stripes or something.
Yeah, and he killed it.
Yeah. No, he's not related to the story in any way, shape, or form, but yeah, he's a talented guy.
Yeah, it's a comparison, is all I'm saying.
So in 1764, von Steuben would find employment again and become, I hate German words.
Just do
it in your French accent.
He would become. I'm not.
Come on, Frenchie, do it.
He would become Hofmarschall, which is an economic advisor or supervisor for Prince Joseph Friedrich Wilhelm of German. It's Hohenzollern Hechingen, which is a small German principality.
I feel like it's a really long word, but it means something like real short.
Yeah. There are way more letters. There are way more letters in there than that actually means. It's like South Germany. Yeah.
Of course,
Often have a set.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So in 1771, he began to use the title of Baron, which is the first time he ever, pulled this out of his ass. He wasn't.
Wait, so he went from military to royalty?
He labeled himself Baron.
Okay.
He labeled himself.
No, I'm just checking.
He gave himself the Baron title just for shits and gigs.
Baron unit was taken, so he went with Baron.
Call me King Philly. Fuck it. Whatever. We're naming ourselves.
That's decent. I'm gonna try that.
So he gave himself the Baron, and he used it to help the Prince Joseph Friedrich Wilhelm to try and secure loans from Paris. Not only did they not secure any loans, but they returned to Germany in 1775 more in debt than they left.
So that was a success.
So 2 years later, in 1777, Baron von Steuben, as we'll refer to him from now on, he would meet an old acquaintance from his military career, Count Claude Louis, in Hamburg.
Ah, of course, Louis.
Claude had risen through the ranks and was now the French Minister of War, which, in that short of a time period, is huge. So he just gained a huge ally without doing anything. just knowing a guy from back in the day.
I feel like that's basically what he's been doing his whole career.
Yeah, more or less. His dad was pretty high up in military ranks, and it's kind of like one of those, oh, my dad's an admiral.
All right.
Okay, well, we'll make you what, like a captain? Like what?
No. Call me Baron.
Yeah, call me Baron. Okay.
Yeah.
So
It's the easiest way to refer me to.
So Claude, he was a really close friend of Benjamin Franklin. And then this time, the American
Good guy to
Revolution...
Can I just say, whenever you say Claude, I imagine it's a cat.
Claude the cat.
Let me tell you why. Because, yeah,
Yeah, I got
exactly, yeah. Well, I was explaining to Philly because he was puzzled.
He's always puzzled.
Like, yeah, I just got clawed by that fucking cat again.
You're an idiot.
Okay, so the Count...
Who's the idiot? You are. You looked at me like you...
So the Count was a friend of Benjamin Franklin.
1, 2...
Not the Count.
He said the Count. That's immediately where my mind went.
3 pimp slaps. At this time, the American Revolution was in desperate need of support. Though the French, they couldn't outright support the United States, or it's not even the United States at this point. They couldn't support the Continental Armed Forces. They couldn't support it because they couldn't risk an all-out war with England because they would get their ass handed to them. They quietly supported the U.S. through...
They're like, I want to support the U.S., but I am tired.
Yeah, tired.
Okay, we'll take a nap. And then support us.
So the Count, he arranged a meeting between Benjamin Franklin and Baron von Steuben, and it did not have the intended response that they were going for.
What happened?
Franklin couldn't offer Steuben a rank or pay comparable to what he had in his current position because he feared retaliation from other U.S. officers that had risen through the ranks, and you bring in this foreigner and you go, okay, he makes as much money as you and he's got the title like you, and all the Americans were like, no, fuck that. Like, that's bullshit.
Well, but he's a baron.
Yeah, he is a baron.
By self-title.
Exactly, self-title.
And the Count was not having that.
So
the Count was like...
He's like, I'm the Red Baron. You've never had my pizza?
Oh, you've never heard this?
You son of a bitch, no.
Here's a tip with Red Baron. You go 10 degrees under the recommended, and you go 2 minutes over.
No,
beautiful.
Not that fucking
It's perfect.
Baron pizza.
It's the best thing you'll ever put in your mouth. Okay, so Franklin told Steuben...
Why are you disagreeing?
Why don't
He's like, I've put a lot better things in my mouth.
Why don't you try
That was the look on his face.
I saw it.
God.
So Benjamin Franklin told Baron von Steuben if he wanted to help with the Continental Army or anything like that, fight against the English, he would have to volunteer, and he would basically be introduced into their army as a private. Steuben was, quote, disgusted, and he stormed out, and he was on his way to Prussia. Right now, I need to kind of let you know, Baron von Steuben, he dabbled in homosexuality. Just
dabbled?
Just a tip, you know.
Okay.
So when he returned to Prussia, allegations of him having...
Why are you so excited by that?
Quote, me? Who?
Billy.
Oh, yeah.
He was really excited by just the tip.
Billy's touched himself.
I am.
So...
He's like, I'm wet over here.
Super wet. It's goddamn Niagara Falls over here.
You can drown a puppy in his boxer shorts. Okay, so he returned to Prussia, and he had allegations of having relations, quotation fingers right there, with young men while in the employ of the prince, and they were all brought against him like as soon as he got back.
So he was like the past version of like a homosexual Cosby, right?
Or Jared.
Or like a Spacey or something?
I was thinking Paterno. He had
no one agrees.
I mean, way to just keep going till no one understands.
There you go. Lost everybody? Perfect. Okay, so knowing that...
Paternity test.
knowing at the very least this would kill his chances of advancing with the Prussian army and his post with the prince, he fled to Paris because he knew at this point in time this could potentially land him in jail for a really long time. The rumors, they also followed him to Paris, but with a recommendation from the Count, Steuben was introduced to George Washington through a letter.
Let me touch you. I don't know. I can't.
What? Did you say, let me touch you?
Yeah, he did. He went there.
Let me touch you.
That's Italian?
I have no idea what just happened there.
That was the absolute worst impression ever.
Can we just move on?
This is saying it.
I
It's
don't-
not being
I don't-
edited out.
I don't think we can.
Okay.
I don't think it's possible. Okay, so from von Steuben was recommended to be introduced to George Washington from the Count through a letter written by Benjamin Franklin, and there was a little bit of a mix-up. I don't know if it was a translation error or something like that, but he was introduced to Washington as Lieutenant General in the King of Prussia's service, which is...
So he got promoted again.
It's basically, yes. He got promoted.
God.
He got promoted via typo.
Can that happen to me?
Yeah,
And now you are the VP.
I get promoted all the time.
I'm a doctor now.
Yeah, don't stay away from my gallbladder.
Whoa.
So through the recommendation, through the letter, Congress sent him money to arrange travel, and on September 26, 1777, he'd board the ship Flamande from Marseille, headed to America. On December 1st, 1777, Steuben and his young aide-de-camp, which, as I went over before, aide-de-camp is just basically servants to the military.
Slaves?
I'm going to try and say all these names right.
Oh, please.
Louis
Please
de
butcher them.
Pontier,
Oh, that's actually pretty good.
his military secretary.
Uh-huh.
Peter Stephen Duponce,
Also pretty good.
and two other companions. These are quotation fingers I'm putting out there, just in
Okay.
case you're wondering. Reached Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
You put quotations, the companions.
Yeah, companions.
You also did quotations for Portsmouth.
No. Portsmouth's an actual place.
Portsmouth?
Along with all those guys, Azor, Steuben's Italian Greyhound, was also with them.
Wait, is that an actual Greyhound, or was that one of his aides?
An Italian Greyhound is like, if you've seen a Greyhound, picture that, but miniature. Like a tiny little
And going
Greyhound.
capiche.
No, don't go pick capiche. So,
I'm just imagining a really small dog talking with its hands a lot.
so basically me in dog form.
Yeah.
Got it.
I got a dog treat that you can't refuse.
That's how they arrest the Italians. They just get their they just do a finger
They
handcuff.
do finger cuffs, yeah. The Italian or
Just-
the Chinese finger
They're
cuffs.
immobile after that.
Yeah, then I can't even tell you what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, he dressed all of his men in red and was immediately arrested.
Well, that was dumb.
The reason for it was because the American Revolution colors were blue and the English colors were red.
You know, Crimson Bloods go way
Crimson
way,
Bloods, yeah.
go way deep. You know?
Way back to yesteryear.
West, y'all.
So they cleared up this mishap. They, smoothed it over, and on February 5th, 1778, Steuben and company would arrive in York, Pennsylvania to meet with Congress. Now, normally Congress was hosted in Philadelphia, but the British pushed them back. So Congress, in this kind of makeshift Congress, they approved an outline for Steuben to be compensated based on his contributions after the war. So he would need to prove himself, he would need to turn the army around, and then he would get paid what they saw fit.
So they paid him on credit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Neat.
They were hoping he got killed.
Obviously.
February 23rd, 1778, Baron Friedrich Wilhelm Ludolf Gerhard Augustin von Steuben
Can you just
arrived.
can you just slow it down?
No, I gotta say all 12 names.
We agreed.
You were gonna call him Fred. What the fuck happened to that?
Okay. February 23rd, 1778, Baron Fred Friedrich Wilhelm
damn it.
Ludolf Gerhard Augustin von
God
Steuben
damn it!
Oh, you.
arrived in
Piece of
Valley
shit.
Forge, and he reported to duty as a volunteer. Now, it took me a very long time to find this little gem, but I really hope you enjoy it.
I can feel it already.
The tension is it's building up.
Are you guys ready?
I don't know. Am I? Yeah, I think.
Why are you touching yourself? Stop it.
How? I can't help it.
Okay, so George Washington rode out of Valley Forge to meet von Steuben, or Fred, as you guys want him called. When he
Now you've fucked it up so many times.
When he finally met him on the road from York, the Baron showed up in a grandiose sleigh, sporting 24 jingle bells,
Shut up.
pulled by black Percheron draft horses.
Who the fuck is this, Santa Claus?
The Baron was wearing a robe of silk trimmed with fur,
Oh my god, he was Santa Claus.
all the while petting his miniature greyhound Azor,
Ah,
who was curled up in his lap.
my god.
Behind him was his French aide-de-camp, Louis de Pontier, and Baron's teenage secretary, Pierre-Étienne de Ponce, along with the two other guys who are not listed because these are all teens. This dude's riding around with teenage boys.
Okay, Santa, y'all.
With pointy little hats.
So he has his elves on the back of his sleigh, riding in to the American.
It's okay.
I can't
All right.
right now. I'm sorry. Hold on.
Coca-Cola, I think you might want to rethink your whole Santa Claus
Santa
on
rode
Christmas.
in to the war.
I just imagine him petting this little dog, and the dog's like, he's got his hands in the air, like trying to talk to him.
Ho ho ho, everyone!
Yeah, none of them spoke English, so the dog,
Great.
by hand gestures, interpreted everything. No, so
Do not get this wrong, guys. We're here to fight.
that's where I'm gonna end it because
I don't.
we need to do 2 parts because there's too much info. But I would like to end on a high note.
Fucking gay Santa. How can you?
Top that. Go ahead.
There's no possible way I can go on without disappointing anyone for like 20 minutes.
That's my sex life.
Jesus.
1 minute in bed,
Like
20 minutes of crying.
I'm not even laughing anymore. Now I just feel bad.
Yeah. And when you said that, he looked at you like, yeah, spot on.
So that's where I gotta leave it. At least
God,
for this
I'm
week.
sorry. I'm so stuck on this idea here that we have a man he rose up the ranks on his own merit by giving himself his own ranks, right?
He fell up.
He
in the
fell
ranks.
up. He fell
You
up.
know?
Okay,
He defied
And
gravity.
then showed up to the war, to the American Civil War.
American Revolution.
Oh, sorry, American Revolution. In Santa Claus garments with reindeer and sleigh in tow
And elves.
and gay elves.
No reindeer.
Oh, excuse
It
me.
was
They're
just
horses, right?
yeah,
They're
they were
black horses.
They were beautiful black horses.
Okay.
If you look up what Percheron horses are,
Uh-huh.
they're pretty. They're real pretty.
So he chose those horses specifically just to. So he arrived in a grand gesture on purpose, is what he's did.
There's a quote from do you know who I think it's Greek? The Greek god of war is?
Yeah, Kratos.
No, it's not Kratos. No, it's not. It's not the Greek. It's the Roman god of war, Mars.
Mars, yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's a quote from Washington's men at this time, and they were in dire straits. They were all starving, dying, freezing, like in that order.
And they're like, check out this motherfucker.
And they go, this motherfucker looks like Mars, like the god of war,
God of War.
because he came into a battlefield like in a pimp suit, So that's
I mean,
this.
okay.
This dude.
With jingle bells.
Say what you will. Say what you will about this guy. This guy's a fucking badass. He's openly gay. Well, as far as he can at this point in time.
I mean, he's got his gay men in the back of his sleigh.
He knows how to make an entrance, that's for sure.
You know what I'm picturing? I'm picturing these dudes and Speedos behind him. He's in the front. He's got a beard. He's got the red suit going on. He's got the horses in front of him. He's got jingle bells happening. And he's just like, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot about the Greyhound. He has the Greyhound in his hand, petting him. Hey guys, who wants to win a war?
I would make fun of you, but that's pretty fucking accurate. That's almost spot on to what's happening.
All right, let's call the show.
Yep.
Okay, so tune in until next time. Well, we will finish von Steuben in part 2.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off, but it's Baron.
God damn it.
Hey everybody, thanks for listening. If you'd like to learn more about our podcast, you can join us on our website, which is wheretocast.com, which has links to our Twitter, our Facebook, as well as our Patreon. If you want to go straight to our Patreon, it is patreon.com/hotsaucecast.com.